Francis Graffeo. You can call me Frank.
My name is Don Townsend.
My name's Marie Butler.
I'm Daniel Berry.
I'm Mark Rucker.
I'm Sadie Rucker, his wife.
I'm Alan Henderson. I am the Executive Director of the National Association of Teachers of Singing.
I was the General Director and Conductor of Knoxville Opera from 2000 to 2005.
My role here is production management. I've been here for 46 seasons. I started in 1978.
I'm the finance and ticket manager with Knoxville Opera. I first started here in 1989.
For about 27 years, I was the morning man on WUOT radio, and for about half that time, the program director.
I have tremendous memories of that time in my life as an artist and as a nonprofit administrator and just becoming a member of this excellent community. I had never worked in an opera company that was this old. And I remember when I arrived, there was such a history there, and all of the history of Knoxville Opera was imbued with Robert Lyle when I arrived.
Robert was a young, upcoming conductor who had actually formed his own orchestra.
He had such a presence about him. He knew what he wanted, and it's just working with him year after year, and I would get used to him.
He was just a very striking looking man, a certain amount of charisma to him, which always helps when you're in an orchestra pit or when you're trying to get people's attention.
He had expectations, and those of us who were my age at that time, of course, and aspiring singers, obviously we wanted to meet his expectations always.
I sang for him in an audition. One of the things that I say about Robert is when you sang with him, you always got the feeling that he knew where you were going. He knew what you needed.
Well, I never met Robert Lyle, but the funny thing about conductors is you never work together. You're each working with orchestras elsewhere.
The first show that he did after I moved here, he did Cavalleria Rustica in the fall of 1983, and I went to see the production. And I was impressed, first of all, at how good a production that a town the size of Knoxville could put on. It was a very professionally done thing, and I was impressed with the level of the cast that he brought in.
He would always say, there are no small, insignificant roles in opera.
He would take chances with these young singers. He had a great ear for voices. He was one of the few opera people that actually would allow singers to come in who didn't have representation.
Well, I think Robert Lyle was a born conductor. Even when he was young, he just had this charisma about him.
You call people in his position maestro, he's the conductor. You knew that he knew exactly what he was doing and was very knowledgeable.
I feel like, he really had a vision for what the opera company and what opera could do in a city like Knoxville.
It's an interesting question to think about the impression that you leave on your patrons and your audience. When I arrived in Knoxville and saw the kind of work that Robert had done, commissioning new pieces, performing risky repertoire, I knew about the commitment he had, and living up to that was a challenge. But I think everyone was on my side. It was like, we want it to be as good as Robert Lyle was doing it, Frank. So yes, I will do my very best. I think we achieved that.
When Robert was here, in my early years here, we were growing our audiences. I know we had gone, some of the shows we had gone from just a Friday and a Sunday to a Friday, Saturday and Sunday. It's exciting to me to see the audiences growing.
One of the biggest things I think about him, he saved a lot of companies, including during the very rough times of COVID.
And after Katrina in New Orleans, oh my God. I mean, he literally just put that company on his shoulders and saved it.
The repertoire on this concert was designed with Robert Lyle in mind. He's conducted every note on this concert many times, and opera has such a strong connection to the past. The life that we give the score, there's a parallel there with Robert by us performing this music that was so dear to him and that he was so skilled at interpreting.
I was looking through some pictures the other day of him conducting in rehearsals, and I thought, wow, it's like, I remember that.
The opera world has changed a lot in 40 years. Opera companies like Knoxville Opera expanded incredibly over this country.
One of the first things I said when I was meeting with the team as we were putting this concert together is, I want to be sure that people at least once in the evening go, wow. And music is so good for people. It's good for children, it's good for adults, it's good for everybody. Every culture that has ever existed has music.
I think the greatest thing about Robert Lyle was, even though he was a great man, a great conductor, he was a very talented musician, but at the same time, he was a very compassionate person.
Anybody that worked with him really respected him, number one, and loved he was so positive. When people were having trouble, he did help them. And if someone was having difficulty, he always was very patient with them.
He was able to communicate that he cared about you, and he cared about the people that he was working with. You know, music was his life. Conducting was his life.